Welcome, everyone, to the Daily Juice Podcast on the Betting Pros Network. I'm your host, Sean Stacking the Money Green. Give me a follow on Twitter at Sean T. Green. And as always, Daily Juice is being brought to you by BetMGM. Use a promo code JUICE, and a $10 bet turns into $200 if either team scores a touchdown. Restrictions apply. All right. What an annoying. The Phils, you let me down. But really, I let you down. The city of Philadelphia Phillies, the Daily Juicers, the DJers, as I call them. I wore the wrong shirt, and it was a rookie mistake. And sometimes after a mistake like that, you got to take a good hard look in the mirror, wearing my wrong shirt, and realize, yes, I was the cause of the Philadelphia Phillies to get no hit and the cause for the loss. So, to the Phillies, I apologize. To the organization, we got to do better. And that's why we have a game 5. We have a game 6. That's all we're going to need. Let's go, Phils. All right, so 1 and 2 on the slate, down about a unit-ish, probably a little bit more there. Had a 2-unit play on the Phils, but had a nice win on action. Almost, it was like plus 188 to balance it out, and then the Pelicans blew it against the Lakers. So, yeah, officially, Phillies lose. 5-0. Again, need to score runs. My analysis, need to score runs to win games. Need to get hits. I mean, to get no hit. And certainly some of that is very frustrating. Like, oh, you got embarrassed. You got no hit. Yeah, sure. That's part of it. But you can be optimist and say, look, they saved all those hits for game 5, the key game, the game you need to win. So that's a good way to look at it. And that's my positive spin. Save some hits. And I saw this trend. Teams coming off being no hit in the World Series are 1-0. I think it's only happened one other time in baseball, getting no hit in the World Series. I saw some black and white highlight, but they came back, got the dub. So optimistic about the Phils in Game 5. But all the picks tonight for tonight's episode. We're going birds big, as you would imagine. But there's some fun little nuggets in here, player props. Lakers. I got the shovel out, tried to bury him. No, sir. If you watch the end of that game, so kind of as expected, Lakers were doing all right in the first half, trying to give the game away. Pelicans had a really good chance to steal the game. They're up 3. They get fouled. They miss both free throws. Again, that's when betting NBA, it sounds simplistic, but you got to look at those free throws because it makes such a difference, right? So up 3, miss both free throws. You're like, all right, 1.1 seconds left. They can still get the push, okay? But if you just hit one of them, do they even try and chuck up a shot? Of course, since they're only down 3, LeBron takes a really quick timeout. They inbound it to this dude, Matt Ryan, who admittedly I had never heard of, just throws up a prayer, hits it, and then, of course, there's no way you're winning in overtime after that happens. Lakers get the win in OT, but hit those free throws. If they're up 5, are they even attempting a shot? Like, there's 1 second left. Are they going to call a timeout? No, they're going to dribble it out. Like, what are we doing? Oh, God, NBA. But the win, the dub, as they call them, kids call them. Do kids still call them that? I'm probably talking real sus, as the kids say. Central Michigan, Chippewas. They got a nice outright win in action, 35-22. They were a decent-sized dog, plus 188 on the money line, so kind of balanced out the couple losers there. Hey, you're not a loser. You're only a loser if you don't try, right? And you should be trying to win this autographed Ken Walker jersey. That's right. It's youtube.com/bettingpros. Hit subscribe, comment on the video. Automatically entered to win an autographed jersey, courtesy of Pristine Auction. This thing is sweet. I don't even know what you call that Seahawks color. It's kind of like a highlighter green, but it looks pretty badass. And Ken Walker is a badass. I like Seattle this week, catching 1.5. I know it's super chalky. Like, everyone all of a sudden is on the Seahawks as a small dog there. We'll get to that when we do the NFL picks, but I like them, man. I can't take the Cardinals at home. Hey, let's get to it. Thursday night football. My birds are in action. This has to be the first time in sports history where a baseball team is playing the same city that the football team is playing on the same night. It feels like a pretty crazy occurrence. Eagles laying 13.5. You can get the 13.5 at the Texans over on WinBet. I'm going for 2 units. I mean, what matchup are the Texans winning? Maybe Dameon Pierce gets going. I don't see it. I think Miles Sanders has a great matchup. I mean, you saw what Derrick Henry did, but Texans, it's like, not only are they bad at defending the run, they also have issues defending the pass. Jalen Hurts is from Houston, so nice homecoming opportunity for him. I think the Eagles' defense is going to create some easy opportunities for their offense. The Eagles are plus 14 in turnover differential. I mean, that's by a wide margin. The second team is the Ravens. They're plus 6. It's because the Eagles are just creating a ton of turnovers. And you give Davis Mills, the turnover machine, versus the Philadelphia Eagles defense, 2 turnover machines meeting up. It's going to be super turnovers, if that's a thing. Also, like, offensively, this Texans team, the entire team, they just seem to be jumping ship. Brandon Cooks, is he injured? It seems like also he just kind of doesn't want to play because he wanted to get traded, didn't get traded. Guy is hooked on getting traded. He's been traded the most in the NFL. Didn't get the trade. I just think the Texans are going to have trouble moving the ball, and I think the Eagles are going to be able to put up a bunch of points. And that brings me to my first prop bet. Eagles total touchdowns over 3.5. Now, I like the Eagles to be able to put up points. Do you take the team total over 29, or do you take the team total touchdowns over 3.5? To me, I'm taking the over 3.5 touchdowns because 28-10 game to me is certainly in the realm of possibility. And that obviously would hit, but it wouldn't go over the team total. You know, kind of the other way, if you look at it, what's more likely? To me, them getting exactly 28, that is more likely than them getting 30 via 3 touchdowns and 3 field goals. So that's kind of my handicap on it. Again, like, I think they're going to be able to create turnovers and put the offense in really good situations. And since they had that blowout win against the Steelers, they were able to rest their starters in the fourth quarter of Sunday's game. So created some nice opportunities for them that they're not usually on the short week on the road. You're a little bit more worried, but like, most of the starters barely played like the second half of the fourth quarter. So I think that is helpful as well. And in general, you're not going to make a ton of money taking big non-conference road favorites, but situationally, I think this Texan team has kind of lost their will. So I'm all in on the Eagles, as you would imagine. Imagine if I took the Texans here. Hey, if you got some cojones, sprinkle it on Texans money line. I don't see it, but then again, you never do, and that's why they play the games in the National Football League. Hey, have you guys joined our Sleeper group? That's right. You probably already play fantasy on Sleeper, but now you can play over/under on player props, right? A lot of states, unfortunately, don't have legalized gambling, but Sleeper is available in a ton of states. So if your state doesn't have online sportsbook, there's a good chance they have Sleeper. If you already use Sleeper for your fantasy, you can just click the over/under tab, use that promo code DailyJuice, 100% deposit bonus up to $100. And also make sure you do this, go to sleeper.com/dailyjuice on your mobile phone. That'll automatically get you joined in the Daily Juice Sleeper group, which is pretty fun because you can just copy. You see someone, put together a nice little 3-team player prop parlay. You like it, you can just hit copy and you're good to go. And you can see what people are on, whether you want to fade or tail. You can win 2x all the way up to 20x. You go 5-0 on the player props, you can win 20x. My favorite, or one of my favorite player props for this game, I also think the 2 guys I think are going to have big games are Miles Sanders and Devonta Smith. We'll get to Devonta Smith in a second, but for my sleeper.com/dailyjuice prop, give me Miles Sanders over 79.5 rush yards. And Derrick Henry put up like 200 plus. I think Miles is good for 79.5 here. I mentioned Devonta Smith. Like Devonta Smith a lot in this game. Breaking news, we are going to be playing the wheel on Devonta Smith receiving yards. I also like it for catches. Unfortunately, the catch prices aren't out yet for the alternate ones, or at least I couldn't find them. So if you want to play that instead, and you also like Devonta Smith, I co-sign that as well. Shout out to D Nizzy in the Betting Pros Discord. I know he likes to play the wheel as well. to me, and we'll get to what is the wheel exactly. It's you're playing all these different alternate spreads for the receiving yards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2.5 units. I'm going to head over to FanDuel and I'm going to play a half a unit on each of these. Again, they're your units. Do however you want to split it up. But I like 60 yards. Devonta Smith to go over 60 yards is plus 130, 70 yards plus 200, 80 yards plus 310, 90 yards plus 430, and 100 yards plus 640. Obviously, if he gets over to 100 yards, we're eating big time. You probably if he gets over 70, I think you're cracking a profit there because then you're plus 330 minus that. So, yeah, you should be okay if he hits those first two. Either way, I really like the matchup here. And we've seen this, right? Like Nick Sirianni knows how to manage this team. And we just saw A.J. Brown, massive game. And it seems like after a massive A.J. Brown game, they kind of go out of their way to make sure Devonta gets his. I like the matchup against the Houston cornerbacks. Neither of the cornerbacks are in the top 25 over at PFF. He has massive games in him. If you remember that Washington game, he had 8 for 169 against the Commanders football team. So I think this is it's a real fun prop to just kind of go all in on Devonta Smith there. So playing the wheel at 2.5 units, half unit on each over on FanDuel. And then I like Eagles, a team total touchdowns over 3.5 minus 115. Like the Eagles minus 13.5, 2 units over on WinBet. And I would go to WinBet there for the 13.5. I know a lot of places are hanging the 14. I like the Phils, rooting for the Phils, but I'm in timeout for one game on the Phils. I don't want it. Again, I wore the wrong shirt. It's on me. Hey, BetMGM.com, promo code JUICE. Get in there. Get that sweet deposit bonus for new customers. Follow us on TikTok at Betting Pros. Follow me on Twitter at Sean T. Green. Check out my other show, the Sports Gambling Podcast. Just released our NFL Picks podcast, picking every NFL game against the spread. Hey, you know what to do. Subscribe, rate, and review. And as always, don't forget to let it ride.